Hi guys, it's Low and Freak again, and welcome back to our Let's Play series, How Do We Survive? And last episode was the kickoff, so we covered a lot of things. I know I was a bit rushed and there's a lot of things to learn and do and whatnot. So look, I'll try and slow it down a little bit today. I think now that we've got our place, we've got our beds and all that sort of stuff, I think we can just take a bit of a breather and just take stock of what we've got, what we have to do next, and just a couple of little projects that we should think about starting. There's a lot to do, so there's heaps to do actually, given that we've just started. But I think for now, let's just break it down to a couple of little things, and we'll go from there. So we've got our little hidey hole, our little cabin, our little hole in the wall, or whatever you want to call it for now. There's, we've got a chest full of stuff, and actually I just put all my stuff in there last time, so I'll just get all my pickaxes and all that sort of stuff. Get my sword, get an axe, and we've got coal. I might put some iron on to smelt because we might just look at upgrading our tools, and from there we'll just we'll just keep going and just see what we need to do. So furnaces again, really useful just for smelting iron and whatnot. It's actually good for cooking food. It's actually the easiest way to cook your food. There's also campfires, which we can have a look at a bit later as well. They're actually a really good way to cook your food without using coal. So maybe I'll do one of those as well. But I think for now I'll just put the iron in there to smelt. Again, you've got your coal at the bottom and you put your iron ore at the top, and the output is the iron ingots. And that's the same with food. You put your food in the top, your coal there, and your cooked food will appear here. So look, there's every chance that we'll add a couple of furnaces so we can smelt ores and cook food at the same time. That's completely normal, and it's up to you how you want to do it. But okay, enough of that. We'll just let that do its thing. And now let's have a look outside. I think it was dark and rainy, which is fantastic. So I think what we'll do is go to sleep and start a new day, and we'll just tick off a few items that are important to sort of start your survival world off in good stead. So here we go. So it's a new day outside. Sun's rising in the east and it's set in the west over that way, as kind of it does in real life. But anyway, we won't get into that. So let's have a look at a couple of the important things we sort of touched on in the last episode. It's food being the most important. Because we're playing in normal mode, our food bar, our hunger bar will deplete as we sort of expend energy, by jumping around and running. So keeping running and jumping to a minimum is really helpful to sort of prolong or sustain or not use your hunger. But as you can see here, we don't have a great deal. We've got 3 cooked mutton, which is meat is probably the preferred or one of the better food sources, but things like sweet berries are an option, and potato and carrots obviously are too. But you kind of need farms to get that stuff going, and we'll cover that off as we go along. But for now, I think I'm not really happy with how much food we've got, so I think let's go looking for some, and we'll just get that stockpile up a little bit more. Okay, so let's go looking for some food. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can just go around looking for animals and harvesting them for food as we need, which is good and does work. And animals will keep respawning and help you replenish your food stores, which is completely acceptable. But you'll find that you'll have to keep going further and further out a little bit if you go through them too much. One way to sort of get around that is to actually build some farms. Just fence off an area, and I'll show you how to do that. But have your animals, and you can breed them just with food that they need. We'll cover that off too, and that way you have a steady supply of livestock that can sort of sustain you that way. And look, I think we will do that. But another way to do that is veg farms. So having crops growing all day, all night is a really good way to get food and sustain food that way. Now, as we start off with the farms, they'll be very manual, so they'll require us to, to actually, tend to the animals, feed them and whatnot. Same with the veg crops, you'll have to sort of harvest them once they mature. But eventually you'll get it to a point where you'll probably look to automate some of that stuff. And that's the beauty of Minecraft, that you can actually do a lot of that automation, and so that way you can focus on other things, which is really exploring and cave and find all the other resources to sort of get you to the next level of the game. So we've got some pumpkin here, so I might get that going. And you'll see that we'll pick up some pumpkin. Now what we want to do, I mean, we can't actually eat that as it is, but what we can do is, if you put that in your crafting grid, you'll just pressing your inventory button, you'll see that it gives you pumpkin seeds. So what that means is that we can actually plant that and then just start the cycle of growing pumpkins. So I'll keep that for another day, but I'll just convert them into seeds for now. Let's go have a look around. Yeah, so what I'd really like to do is start growing some wheat and some veg, and a good way to start finding those sort of resources, especially veg, is finding villages, because they tend to grow their own crops and you can actually pinch a couple and then start your own sort of crop farm from there. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I did see a village earlier on, so maybe we'll go have a look at that. Okay, let's get some coal too, because you can never have enough of this stuff. It does take time to mine it, but it's worth every little bit. So stock up on coal if you come across it. It's very handy, as you know, to make torches and fuel your furnaces. Okay, and we might get some trees as well. There's a lot of different ways you can play Minecraft, as you're probably aware by now. Some people like to build houses straight up, and that requires a lot of resource gathering, woods and things like that. I'm not that sort of player. I like to set up like a above ground home a bit later on, once I've got a steady supply of food at least. It just makes it... I just don't like rushing that sort of stuff, and you can just, it's free, just digging into the side of a cliff, really. All you need to do is just dig. So that's my approach, but again, feel free to play it however you want, and I'll keep saying that because, again, it's really up to your play style. Don't try to mimic people, just play the way that you like. Get ideas from people, certainly. And that's, I guess, why people make these videos, myself included, just to give you some ideas on how to play the game and sort of, give it some purpose, because I remember when I first started playing Minecraft with my child, kind of didn't know what the point was behind it, let alone the controls, punching trees and all that sort of stuff. And after a few rage quits and whatever, then it sort of, I started watching a couple of videos. And from there, it's sort of the penny dropped, and I've been playing ever since. So, okay, I think let's try and find some grass seeds, which we don't seem to have too many here, and we'll look at starting a crop. But where's the sun? It's getting pretty late in the day already. I know that village is over there. Let's go for it. Let's see if we can... There's a zombie villager. They're very handy a bit later on in the game. And I've got some torches, so I'll just leave a bit of a breadcrumb for myself. And I'll get back to you once we're there. Oh, is that a bee I see? Excellent. And there we go. In the recent update of Minecraft, they've introduced bees, so that's really handy. A good food source as well. But let me get some of these chickens while we're here. a good little auto farm that I will make pretty soon is a chicken farm. A cooked chicken farm is just awesome, just so easy to sort of construct and get going, and yeah, they give you food for days, so they're really handy. Check out my video on my channel. Chicken cookers are probably a little bit advanced for the time being now, but this village will come under attack pretty easily, I think. That's okay. Is there actually anyone here? I think they've all gone to bed, which is probably not a bad idea. Yeah, let's sleep this off a little bit later. Yeah, this village is probably built on the worst place. I actually don't think there's anyone here. Get some maps. Compass is handy. Get some bread. Yeah, now's probably a good time to sleep. And if you, just a tip, going to bed just at sunset is probably a really good time. It reduces the chance of mobs spawning. So you've got a clear run in the morning. I actually can't see any villages here. It's not really an abandoned one by the looks of it. That's strange. I've never seen one like this. With absolutely no villagers running around. There's a bell and all that. Brewing stand. Okay. Maybe we have to go look at, there's one off in the distance, I think. So that's one for another day. Anyway, we'll start with the farms and come back and revisit this at a later point. What I will do is, while we're here, is grab this hay. That way we can start making some bread as well. And with the hay, if you break it down, I'll show you now. Makes that wheat. That wheat's really handy for luring animals like cows, especially cows. So when you start your animal farms, it's a really easy way to get them across. So I'll just take what I need for now. I've got beetroot. Get some of that. Get some of the seeds. Start a beetroot farm. Is there any more farms around? Looks like a pretty small village. It's full of potholes. I'm not surprised they've all disappeared, to be honest. Got a nice dark forest there, which is great. That's a very peculiar village. That's okay. What I might do is snag some of this oak wood as well. Because I wouldn't mind starting a tree farm, and tree farms are very easy to do, and coincidentally I do have a tutorial on that on my channel, so check that out. And why not, we'll get some birch. Now obviously to start a tree farm, you have to kind of stick around and get the saplings. Now you can either sit and wait for the leaves to break or decay themselves, or you can do this manually with your hand. I think it's been proven that doing this or waiting around, there's no real difference in terms of drops for saplings. So I might just force it a little bit and just see if I can pick up a sapling or two. Looks like I've got some. That's great. Fantastic. Okay, I think let's head back to the base and just get set up a little bit more, and I'll explain some crafting ideas for you. and then we can also just focus on getting a mine set up as well, because it's important to start looking for better resources, iron definitely being one of them. I've probably mentioned that a few times now, but I think that's an important one that we focus on too. But there's some tall grass. Let's see if we can get some wheat seeds. And just do that. There we go. That's what we want. And you can do that with your hand. You don't need an axe either, or a piece of meat. Doesn't really matter. Seeds are not only just to grow wheat, but they also help you lure chickens. So I'll show you right now. If I put this seed here, this chicken will start following me. And yeah, so I can bring him over. And I think the wheat works for the sheep as well. So I'll just get some more seeds, so that way we can start a really basic wheat farm and just take the pressure off sustainable food. Okay. We'll leave those bees alone. There's some pigs, so maybe I'll get some more meat that way. That's why critical hit's important. That way you're not chasing them around. There's some sugar cane. I'll get some of that as well. That's very handy for paper to make some books and whatnot a bit later. Oh, there's the witch hut, and the witch is in there. So we'll steer clear because we're not ready to take her on just yet. Okay, let's get over here. Now, swimming's another thing you can do in Minecraft, which is can yield its benefits too. So fishing, again, I think I mentioned it last time. That's a good source of food as well. So fishing, you can actually use a fishing rod, or you can just get in there with your sword and start slashing away. Either one works. Fishing with a fishing rod is, especially if you've got one with enchantments, and we'll cover some enchantments later, you can increase your chances of what you catch. And you don't just catch fish too, you can catch other random items, which we'll cover off a little bit later. But let's just get the basics done now. I'm not having much luck today with those critical hits, but anyway, let's carry on. Some more sugar cane. Some of that's important. And I think our base is this way. There it is. We've gone a long way. That's okay. Okay. Okay, so that little resource gathering trip was pretty good. We've got some good stuff to start with. We've got some potatoes, we've got some bread, wheat, we've got some saplings, a few seeds for different crops, and we've got some meat as well. So that should keep us going for the next few days. But I think what I'll do for now, still got a bit of beef. I'll just put everything in the chest. And we'll get started with a basic crop farm and how you go about doing that. Okay, so what you'll need initially is a hoe. So you can craft a hoe quite easily. All you need is, at this stage, we just need some cobblestone and some sticks. and we'll just go to our crafting table. Now, again, the difference between, just wanting to explain, you've got your, I guess let's call it your personal crafting grid, and you access that via your inventory, which is usually the letter E, if you haven't changed the key bindings yet. And there's a limited amount of things you can do in this crafting grid, but things like you can craft torches and levers, but you can see what you can kind of craft typically on the left side here. There's a toggle switch here, craftable and all. So craftable means basically with the things in your inventory, this is what you can craft. If you flick it to all, they're all the items eventually you can craft and you'll need. So just get familiar with that. You can see it also in the crafting, when you access the crafting table, just with the right mouse button, you get a bigger grid here. So then you can start crafting a few more different things, which wasn't possible in the other crafting grid or your personal crafting grid. So as you can see now, I can actually, nothing's changed. I've still got those sticks and cobble in my inventory, but now I can craft all these items because the crafting table gives you more options essentially. So it's really important you get familiar with that. I remember when I started, I was a little bit, not reluctant, but it was just too much to learn and things like that. But it is such a vital thing that you need to get used to. So spend a bit of time in here, get familiar with crafting it. In the early days of Minecraft, you didn't have this. You had to remember, that you needed 2 sticks and cobble in this formation, and that's how you got an axe and that sort of stuff. Whereas now it's a lot easier, so you can just pick the item that you want, provided you've got the equipment or got the resources, and you just craft it that way. So in this instance, I wanted to craft a hoe, so just selected the hoe there and just made it, and that's it. So I think it might be dark outside, but let's go have a quick look, and if it is, yeah. So let's not go out. Let's sleep through it and start another day. Okay, so crop farms. So I think let's get the seeds that we do have. I've got the wheat there, there it is. Just make some room in the hotbar. We'll get the beetroot and I've got the pumpkin there and the wheat. Okay, so let's start a really basic crop farm. Now, I've seen a lot of YouTubers just recommend the basic, just by the water. So just an important tip with hydrating blocks. So this is how you hoe or till some soil. So just with your hoe, just right mouse click on the bit of grass and it will till the soil like that. With the actual hydration of soil, so it's for this soil to remain tilled, and you just saw it change color there, it needs to be within 4 blocks of a water source. So as you can see here, there's the water, there's the tilled soil. I can go out, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's probably not a good example because it's shorter there. If I remove that, and this one here, maybe this is a better example, maybe not. But yeah, so up to 4 blocks, and that will stay hydrated. So this one here will stay hydrated, or as long as there's a water source right there, and it's probably because of that one too. But anyway, so what we can do is we can set up a basic veg farm on the edge of a lake or a water body like we have here, which is good enough to get you started. So something like this is probably good enough for now. Or if you want to do something a bit more purpose-built, then we can actually do that a little bit later. But look, for now, let's just use this. So let's just plant our seeds. And just select your seeds and just plant them like so. And we'll do the same with the beetroot. Now, it's not pretty, but it will work. Now for the pumpkin, it's a little bit different, but it's still pretty simple. So all it needs really is just to till the soil, and the stem itself will grow, and then it will need another block around it for the pumpkin to grow. But you can force it to grow in a certain way. So I'm just going to, and it might just require you to just practice around, but something like this. How many do we have? 8. Okay, let's just plant the pumpkin there, and there. So what will happen, this stem will grow in over a couple of days, and then eventually a pumpkin will spit out, and the pumpkin will go on the next free block it can find. I don't think it'll grow on wood or stone, to be honest. It needs dirt next to it, but you'll see as they grow. Yeah, we can just actually expand this pumpkin farm quite a bit. Pumpkin, again, it is a good resource to trade with villagers with, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So there's the basic veg farm. I think that's all we've got. Yep. Now let's get back into the mining side of things. Okay, so all that iron would have smelted. Yep. Let's put that together. Got some wood. Okay, so let's make some more. We actually don't need to make iron tools just yet. We've got enough there. Potatoes, that was the other one. I knew we had some more. So what I'll do is actually plant some potatoes, because they're a really good source as they are raw, or if you cook them, they're even a better food source. So let's just do that. And there's probably people shouting at me about my hunger right now, so it isn't lost on me, so I will just satisfy that. I actually do need a shovel, so let's get some stone shovels going for now as well. Okay. Actually, what I will do, I may as well start a decent farm. I just need a bucket, so I just need 3 bits of iron just to get some water. As you can see, there's a bucket, and just craft it that way. What I'll do while I'm here is actually make a shovel. So again, how to make tools? It's just simple. You need a handle, so just 2 sticks like that, and you can just drag them and we'll split them 50-50. Just get a couple there, and then get rid of that. And I've got cobblestone and shovel has appeared, stone shovel. Just make 1 or 2 of them, shouldn't matter. Again, once we move into iron, then all these wooden and stone tools, you just throw them out. But for now, let's just do that. Okay, to collect water, it's just as easy as going up to the body of water, bucket in hand, and then just right mouse click, and it collects that water. Excellent, so that's all we need. One little trick I will do. Where are those cobblestone stairs? There they are. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly do a little farm. And you can follow along with me in the tutorial if you want. It can be anywhere. I'm just looking for a nice flat area, sort of a 9x9 area. So maybe down here's the spot. I'll just sort of peel this back a little bit, and I'll come back once it's done. Okay, so I've just cleared out some of this area. Rainstorms come in as well, which is great. Can't really tell if it's getting dark or not. I think it is getting dark. But what I'll do is just quickly show you just a little tip, just so you can start expanding your crop farms a little bit. So I've tried to clear out an area that's at least 9 by 9, and it's important, that number too, because going back to the water and how it hydrates the blocks, having a water source in the middle here will hydrate 4 blocks in every direction, so giving you a 9 by 9. So, and a quick way to sort of get around, I mean, I can put the water in there and that's fine, but what you'll find is once you're farming and coming in and out, you'll trample your crops and then you'll have to re-hoe that. So there's a little tip, and I'll show that after I go to sleep, because I don't want to be doing this at night. Okay, so let's get back to that farming. So yeah, a little tip there to stop you trampling your crops is just by putting a step, and then you can waterlog this step by just placing the water there. So essentially that's the environment thinks that that's a full water source there, so like that water over there, and it will abide by that sort of 4 blocks in every direction. So what we can start doing now is just going 4 in every direction. I'm just keeping an eye on that creeper over there, because there's every chance he'll come over and say hi. I don't know how you got back up there, but anyway, so 4 blocks in every direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I'm just going to fill that all in, or till that all the way in. I do have a good couple of farm tutorials on my channel, so sorry about the plugs, but it's that sort of one-stop shop that I intended. So have a look at those if you're not familiar with this sort of farming approach, or you want to know some more detail about it. Oops, I've gone too far, but I'll leave that there, because you will see that it will turn back into soil in any moment. Okay, so there's the 9 by 9 area. So I'll just get my potatoes and start planting them. Now, early game as well, it's probably worth noting just keeping your crops in rows, so that'll speed up the growth. So try not to have them side by side. So just do a row of potatoes like this, then skip a row, and do another row, etc. If you alternate your crops with wheat, that's fine, but try and keep the same crop type at least 1 block apart. Okay, so that's all the potatoes done, so I'll let them grow. I'll eventually put a fence around this and whatnot, but I think just for now that will do. There's some chickens up there. Okay. Alright, so there's a good start. I think we've got our crop farm sorted for now. I'll introduce more crops as we find them. I'd like to get some carrots. They're a really good source of food, but we'll probably have to wait for that in any case. We'll cover off some more tips and tricks as we go, because it is still early game and there's a lot to learn. I truly appreciate if you are a new player, how it can seem a bit overwhelming, but it just takes time. So just give it some time, and you'll come to grips with it. And look, a lot of it is actually navigating the menus, I think, and crafting this and that and whatever. But it will become second nature for you. So just give it time is my tip for today. Okay, guys, that's enough for today. I think what we'll do next week is sort of start beautifying it a little bit and getting some mining done. For today, I think we've done a really good job in getting these crops going. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode. Please leave a like if you are enjoying what you're seeing, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. It does mean the world to me, and I enjoy what I'm doing, and I like putting out this sort of content. So if you want to see more, just that's one way to let me know. Alternatively, just leave some comments. Feedback's always welcome. So, and if you've got any questions, I do read comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. That's enough for today. Thanks again, guys. I'm Lone Freak, and I'll see you next time. Bye.